What's up, everybody? Mike here, and in this video I want to go over the latest big updates we got and gameplay overview, in this game overview of No Rest for the Wicked from the creators of Ori and the Blind Forest, as well as Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This is Moon Studios' newest game in the makings, in the works, that they're about to release, honestly, in early access as well too, really soon. So that's exciting, very exciting. And I feel like early access, is such a great way to involve the community while, making at least a little bit of money on the game, especially if the early access version is very well polished, even though it has bugs and glitches, but overall well received by the community. And, it's a great way to get that community feedback, because sometimes, you don't always know what's wrong with the game as far as bugs, glitches, and issues if you don't have that community feedback. Before I get into the details, though, of this, it's always appreciated if you guys would like the video, if you enjoy it, subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment below as well, too, after watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on this, too. It helps out a lot. All right, so as I mentioned just now, or at least a bit ago, sorry, early access date revealed, so it will arrive on Steam only, though, just to bear that in mind. It is going to be on PC for Steam only. April 18th, 2024. That is when the early access will arrive for No Rest for the Wicked. And if you're interested in this game, you might as well wishlist it anyway, Why not? Then there's the character creation of the game. So while Moon Studios mentioned that No Rest for the Wicked has a soft class system, anyone who plays action RPGs or Souls-likes can see it for what it is. The system allows players to create any character and class they want instead of being forced to play a locked class. A good example is Diablo, where you pick a specific class, and that's it. If you play Dark Souls or Elden Ring, for example, you dictate what sort of class you ultimately become. And that's what we're seeing will happen in No Rest for the Wicked. Moon Studios is counting on total freedom in playing the game and the classes you create. And I love that we can do what we want instead of being stuck with a random class that cannot be tweaked or evolved. This creation tool lets players choose from either female or male character and customize their face, hair, eyes, nose, mouth, and jawbone. But also bear in mind, though, like, they don't do their games on like super realistic type of models, so don't expect anything like realistic like that. This is going to be more of like a fantasy, not take it serious type of like feel and character model type of thing. So just bear that in mind. Now let's talk about the gameplay. Well, it was assumed this action RPG would be more like a Diablo or a Path of Exile because, based on the trailer we initially saw with the announced trailer, like that's the vibes I got from it personally. We can see from the battles that they're more intimate, and thus this is why I consider this to be a Souls-like title. Enemies aren't easily dispatched. Even a single enemy can end the game for you. The gameplay requires you to pay attention to enemies and the surroundings. The world is full of secrets, ready for players to find, and loot is randomized to allow everyone to find something special. Moon Studios has also decided to forgo the point-and-click model. Instead, players can use the WASD keys or controller. This is a decision I agree with 100%, and I wish more action RPGs would do this. World interaction is also important, and No Rest for the Wicked was designed so that if something looks accessible, it likely is. Some may be easy to access, while others may require ingenuity. During the gameplay, we can also see that there's a stamina bar besides a health bar. While it wasn't mentioned during the showcase, we can see it during the video. During several attacks that the player dished out, I could see the amount of stamina decrease. I know there's quite a bit of gamers who hate stamina bars, but sadly this mechanic has been married to action RPGs. I don't see us going anywhere, ever. In terms of combat, Moon Studios has crafted an animation-driven combat system, meaning that every attack you do must be carefully considered, which means that reckless attacks and wasting stamina will put you in a bad place. The developers wanted to bring weighty, precision-driven combat into a top-down action RPG space, and has drawn inspiration from various genres, from other action RPGs to fighting games. Players must pay attention to enemies and see the telltale attacks and be able to counter them. In addition, there are also parrying attacks, a staple in several Souls-like titles. Each weapon will be unique and possess a unique moveset and RNG-based stats, which were implemented to give players multiple ways to play the game. There's also a rarity system for the gear and weapons. So you got white for common, blue for rare, but only offers like positive enchantments, right? But the common can be customized and isn't fodder to be discarded like in some other action RPGs. Then there's purple, which offers very positive enchantments, but as a trade-off, they also feature a curse. And then there's gold, unique and specifically handcrafted by the developers and offer unique enchantments. Then the bosses. Let's talk about the bosses. Oh boy. So one of the best things about action RPGs is the bosses. And No Rest for the Wicked looks like it won't disappoint. While we've already seen a specific boss, Warwick the Torn, we can still see how engaging and brutal the fights will be. Taking them down will reward players with items to help continue their journey. Then there's camps and survival-like elements, so while No Rest for the Wicked will feature camps, it goes further than what we're used to in most action RPGs. In the first camp, we come across the town of Sacrament, which has been ravished by war, yet still stands. It will be here that the players will encounter several features that I haven't seen in many action RPGs, such as being able to own a house and furnish it. That's not all, as certain quests are performed. You'll have to rebuild the town, and it will open up features such as a blacksmith who can help you repair and upgrade your weapons. You can even go fishing, for those of you that love to fish in RPGs. Now let's talk about endgame. So Moon Studios dropped some hints about the No Rest for the Wicked endgame, especially given that that's something you tend not to tell anyone about and let them see it for themselves. However, things are different. And the end game is something I'm curious about, being called Alive. No Rest for the Wicked's worth is alive and is constantly changing, which means the end game will also evolve and change each time to access it. During the showcase, we saw an in-game location called Mariner's Keep, full of tougher enemies, and the thought of going back to a location you've beaten before and having it change excites me. In traditional action RPGs, once you've beaten the end-game location, the only option was to do a new game playthrough, which also meant traversing throughout the entire game. To this extent, I'm excited to see what Moon Studios has and offers here. Towards the end of the showcase, it was revealed that the game will also feature multiplayer aspects, where other players can join you for your adventures, or against you in what looks like a coliseum. There wasn't any mention of how exactly the multiplayer component will work, but hopefully, it allows for seamless drop-in, drop-out co-op. Similar to what Remnant 2 is offering right now with their latest update with adding crossplay and their multiplayer components, things like that in co-op. My final thoughts on this though, like with everything that has been revealed and they talked about and they showcased, you know, I'm personally excited. Like this is a dev team I believe in, I trust, you know, and I don't trust a lot of these devs and gaming companies because of how corrupted they've become. That corporate greed is just like, outstanding. So, and I feel like to me, you know, Moon Studios is still kind of like one of those few handfuls. It's like a last bastion in a sense where they give you great games. You know, Ori 1 and 2 were fantastic games. If you haven't played them, play them. They're on Game Pass, you know, still if you have Game Pass or interested in getting Game Pass and don't want to pay full price. This studio, like they deliver, they make a full content game. Their games are fun. Their games are replayable. So I'm excited to see what this happens. I'm hoping I will be able to get access to the early access of this game come April 18th, so I can showcase that to you guys, give my early impressions of it, things like that. But any other updates that come along the way, of course, I will keep you guys updated about, as always, like I do with all these other RPGs I love to check out, I'm interested in playing. So, you know, hopefully this was helpful to you and you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that like, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment as well too. Let me know your thoughts about this, guys. Are you excited for this? Are you not excited for this? You know, does this news, you know, upset you in some way or make you happy? So that's it from me, guys. My name's Mike. Thanks for watching.